7 young people on an all-night binge are driving on to another party. You'll have to judge whether they could have made it. The driver forgets about the tanker behind him and begins a U-turn.
All my life, I've had 2 claims to fame. I was born in Transylvania, and I don't drive a car.
But this morning, we're going to teach you all the basics of safe driving. Not just driving, but how to drive without having an accident. Remember those
After 25 years as one of those nearly extinct American creatures, the pedestrian, I'm becoming a driver.
You know, being a good driver is like being a good Christian. You have to practice it every day in order to become good.
I have to buckle myself so I won't get thrown out.
My instructor says, turn right and I turn left, left and I turn right. Years of anarchism will do that to a man. I'll have to readjust my notions of left and right and get ready to become one of you. Learning to drive, the essential American rite of passage, will prepare me for the ultimate American ritual, the cross-country road trip. It's too late to be a teenager experiencing the backseat of my first car, but not too late to discover America, which seems to get discovered over and over and never deplete.
Hey, Rose Scholar. Think you better slow your old Cadillac down. Well, Rose Scholar. Nah. Think you better slow that old Cadillac down. Lord have mercy.
I've got a big car to drive in and out of cliches all the way to California. And I'm starting in New York, where millions of immigrants got their start. I'm going in my Cadillac, a car named after a French explorer famous for founding Detroit and fighting Native American pedestrians.
All you wanna do is just drive around, Andre. Drive, Andre, drive.
I first saw New York in my 3rd grade communist school book. Look at the ugly buildings where the capitalists live. The caption under the picture said, I thought that they looked grand. I was very small.
Do is just drive around, Andre. Drive, Andre, drive.
My first real glimpse of the New World was from a plane taking me to America in 1966. I cried when I first saw Miss Liberty. My fellow passengers, 100 salami-chomping Yugoslavs, broke spontaneously into a Serbian rendition of America the Beautiful. We were done with the old world. Liberty was ours. Since my first encounter with Miss Liberty, I have seen her in cartoons and commercials, on postcards and tattooed on a guy's arm. Always a torch of idealism and a mistress of kitsch. Is there some sort of device that keeps birds and things off of the flame?
Absolutely not. No device at all.
No, the biggest statue I ever saw was in my hometown. It was a statue of Stalin. It was massive. It was not big like Miss Liberty. He had his feet firmly planted in the ground, and his head was equipped with some kind of pigeon-killing ray. And the pigeons fell down, and there was a whole population that ate the meat at his feet.
Oh my goodness.
No tourists came to see Stalin. Tourists are terrorists with cameras. Terrorists are tourists with guns. I admire Miss Liberty's stoic patience, always in the eternal flashbulb, the perennial cover girl of democracy. How does she keep her soul camera-proof as we turn her into postcards and trinkets? I want to buy me a Miss Liberty. What's a good one?
This one they call the snow globe, because when you shake it...
Oh, it snows under her.
Yeah.
That's pretty romantic. Nearly half of all Americans living today have relatives who came through the Great Hall of Ellis Island. All of them done with the old world, ready to be reborn. Steins ready to become stones, Rosens, Rosses, Cardarellis, cards, Codrescus, corkscrews. I lived half my life in Sibiu, a ghost-filled medieval Romanian town. I was one of the last Jews left. Those of my mother's and grandmother's generation perished in the camps. Fortunately, the communist regime started selling Jews like me to Israel in the 1960s for $10,000 a head. I guess I owe the state of Israel $10,000 since I came to America instead. But I had to fight for 10 years to get citizenship. Immigration officers like the ones who used to prowl these halls thought I was a communist poet spy. In Romania, just poet was enough to get you noticed by the police. We're now in the room of the final judgment, and that's enough to give me a shiver. My fear of these things has to do with the fact that it took me a very long time to get my citizenship. Yeah, I think they thought I was an anarchist, but that was their idea.
That's possible. I don't know. I don't know your case, why they would think that. You don't look like one to me.
It's chilling to look into the eyes of so many hope-filled souls dreaming of freedom and opportunity in the new world. How many of those promises turned out to be flag-waving deceptions and illusions? Surprisingly, one community that hasn't been disillusioned yet is this group of 20 Haitians squatting in an abandoned building on Manhattan's Lower East Side. They present themselves as an extended family. True, it's a crack-smoking family, addicted and poor, but a family nonetheless with its own lore and habits and hopes. How do you cook? I asked them if they cook in there. No, we order out, one of them says. Chinese. They don't deliver now, do they?
They don't come in here to deliver.
When you came to America, what did you think?
America is one of the most wonderful places there is, where, food, money, jobs,
It's America, you come and you pick the money off of a tree, the money dropping down, you get everything. In America, which is a different surprise.
What's the best thing and the worst thing for you and here?
For me was that I could come here and talk about anything, because in my country, if I talked or wrote about certain things, I could go to prison for it. So
same thing in my country too.
You got such freedom in this place that you don't have nowhere else.
This is why this is America.
Not all political refugees are created equal. Those who made it in America overindulge themselves at Sammy's Romanian restaurant on the Lower East Side. At Sammy's, eating is such an exaggerated activity. It's a kind of desperate revenge on old hunger. But the old hunger cannot be appeased with food.
In Romania was no meat, so I can't believe that this is meat.
Potato pancakes.
If they're gonna see this in Romania, they're gonna kill us,
He's not going back to Romania, he's staying in New York. This is the way everybody eats in New York every day.
Oh, yeah?
There's the stand.
Where can I put them?
Table companions have followed tortuous paths here. Florian spent a year in a Romanian prison after he attempted to swim to freedom across the Danube River. Iono's a yoga teacher who was hounded for years by Romania's secret police. Coralia waited 10 years to join her beloved in America. They and I made it. We all know someone who didn't. In my fantasies of return to Romania, I saw myself riding into Bucharest, thronged by adoring mobs in just this kind of car. This is a homecoming of sorts. I lived here about 20 years ago, near St. Mark's Church, a young poet in a neighborhood of poets. I originally came to New York in 1966 to present my dissident poet credentials to Berg. Now I want his blessing for this trip into 90s America.
Salutations, younger generation. I was once young once, har har har.
Alan is the king of this capital of Bohemia that shelters the poet and artist refugees from the American dream. In the 50s, Alan's friend Jack Kerouac left from here to go on the road, where a whole generation followed him. I asked Alan about Kerouac's America.
Kerouac, and on the road, said one big phrase: "The earth is an Indian thing." Remember that? A really beautiful slogan. The earth is an Indian thing. And I think that probably was the big insight.
Manhattan used to be an Indian thing, but the Indians sold it to the Dutch for $24. I'll have to head further west to figure out what Kerouac had meant. I'll go ask Walt Whitman, father of American poetry whose bold heartbeat still draws us on. Where is Whitman's America in the uncertain, fearful, angry, xenophobic 90s? Has Whitman become merely the name of a highway stop for gas and cigarettes? Whitman lived here in Camden, New Jersey, with a man and a woman, the spokesman of liberty in all its guises. Whitman's wide-open, generous, loving, energetic, rude, brilliant, utopian new world is what I came to America to find, and for a brief moment in the 60s did find, but then it seemed to vanish. Urban renewal has rolled over this neighborhood, leaving only Walt's home. It seems they had to make room for something new across the street.
Tell me that. Okay.
Hi, who do you have in there?
My Uncle Mike
Your
and
uncle?
my boyfriend Ed.
How did you develop this language?
Well, I learned it like 4 years ago, and it's only writing out the letters with your hand.
Did you ever hear of Whitman before?
Yeah, when I was in school, we had to memorize some of his poems, but I forgot them now. Yeah.
So the greatest poet of freedom. And
He lived there?
Yeah.
It's funny how they put a jail right across from his house, right? Where they say all the bad people go. But these people aren't bad, though. Like, my boyfriend is in there just because this guy said, yeah, that's the guy who shot my brother. But, I mean, people try to say they different from the people on the outside, but they the same people like people out here. They just the ones that get caught.
The land of the free and the brave leads the world in incarcerating its citizens. But how free are those of us on the... Utopian communities pursuing dreams of freedom outside the American mainstream flourished for over a century along this psychic highway in rural upstate New York. One of the still thriving utopian experiments is the Bruderhof, 900 souls dedicated to the childlike love of Jesus. The Bruderhof are Christian communists who trace their beliefs to the 16th century like the Hutterites, the Mennonites, and the Amish.
All the members of this community have declared themselves without any private property, and all we have, all what you see here, the buildings, the factory, the dining room, belongs to God. I would say that I have nothing. I don't want any property for myself, because I think that the property, the private property, leads to social injustice, and that leads to war.
Klaus Meyer and his father Hans narrowly escaped to their pacifist community from Hitler's Germany. I grew up in Romania under state communism that used all the words of community and of brotherhood, but they didn't mean that. It meant that the power was all in the hands of the state. So all my life I looked for some place or some people for whom those words were real.
Community is an expression of our love, simply. Because it says, love your neighbor as yourself. That is equivalent to love your God. And if you love your neighbor as yourself, you share with him.
Lunch and dinner are communal here. The community is in itself continually on guard against the outside. All the telephones are internal. No one is allowed to watch television or listen to the radio. News of the world is excerpted from the newspapers by the elders and posted on the schoolhouse wall. I feel like an encyclopedia of dangerous knowledge in here, a seed pod filled with the ill winds of my time.
In this community, we all want to be like the members of one organism. The eye does its work and the mouth does its work, but they are part of a body. They don't consider themselves higher or lower. In fact, they don't think at all.
The community's business, making children's furniture and equipment for the handicapped, has made the Bruderhof wealthy. Now and then, when they feel that they have acquired too many things, they bring these things to the village square and make a great sacrificial mount that is given away. Wealth is a painful paradox for these believers in poverty. The poverty in Romania during my childhood was hardly voluntary. I remember one day our next-door neighbors broke into our kitchen with axes and communalized our living quarters. I cringe involuntarily amid all these seemingly happy communards and wonder if they feel like I did as a child about being seen at all times, about giving away my thoughts. The most susceptible members of the community, the teenagers, are rarely out of the elders' watchful gaze. When two young people become attracted to one another, they must tell the elders who decide if they are suitable. If so, they are then considered engaged, but they cannot even hold hands until they are married. We are no longer in MTV America, that's for sure. I asked the kids about music, clothes, records, dances, new shoes, the American teenager's essential accoutrement.
I think those things are not really necessary. You want them, but you can live without them.
We're used to our way of life, and they have different, and they accept it, we accept it.
I also asked them about dating and attractions to the opposite sex.
I don't know of any boy that's ever felt attracted to me, but when I feel attracted to a boy, I just try and not show it because there's nothing I can do about it.
In America, I love the freedom, but the fear about this freedom is that people use it to satisfy their own desires.
The freedom to live so severely has chilled me, and yet I like these ascetic visionaries from another time. I could not live in their world. No spices, no cussing, no TV, no whiskey, no sex, no way. I'm out of here. So much upright living made me crave more surroundings. I ended up in Niagara Falls, the second biggest disappointment in a newly married American woman's life, according to Oscar Wilde. The honeymoon couples, strolling through the spritzing postcards in their heads, give no thought to ideal community. They're dreaming of split-level homes in the infinite suburbs where every day is a sitcom. In Romania, everyone kept a heart-shaped tub in their heads to which they escaped when communal living became too intense. If Hans Meyer of Bruderhof could see me now, he'd be sure the devil got in me. But Hans, once in a while, a man needs the pure bad taste of an anonymous motel room, 2 nights, $49, soap provided by the management. Private bad taste is a special kind of grace. I'm returning to my first American home. On the other side of this bridge is Detroit. I settled in 1966 and learned the first lessons of America. Detroit had it good in those days before the 1967 riots. The music was playing. Obie Benson of the Four Tops was singing, and Marv Johnson, the first artist whose songs were released by Motown, was at the keyboards.
And I love the way you love. It makes me feel so fine. I love the way you love because I know you're mine, all mine. Now, that's, you can hear the spiritualism in that song.
That was our souls coming out of here. I mean, and nothing stopped it. I mean, not even the hum in the machine.
If these machines could talk, they would remember the magic voices of Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, and so many others. Motown gave Motor City as much pride as the factories. And then one day, like everything else in Detroit, Motown upped and left the soil of its soul and took off for the money and glitz of Hollywood.
People felt betrayed because Motown was like,
everybody felt part of the Motown because it was like, you know, it's theirs. Everybody here is proud of Motown, it's theirs. And when they left here, it was almost like losing one of your family, being rejected.
Motown wasn't the only bright light to abandon Detroit. The Pistons left Cobo Arena for the greener hoops of the suburbs. The Science Museum closed. Public libraries shut down. Amtrak trains don't stop at the station anymore. Even Rodin's thinker wonders what happened to the Detroit Institute of Art, which can only afford to stay open a few hours a day. A fresh blanket of snow can't conceal Detroit's sorrows, but someone here has been trying to reclaim this bleak landscape. Tyree and Karen Guyton are taking the debris and refuse of Detroit and turning it into art.
You wonder, who wore these shoes? Where are these people now? What are they doing? Are they alive? Where are they? Are they misplaced? Are they homeless? So this has a lot to do with the plight of these people. So that's why we call it street people.
There is a grave here where Tyree and Karen buried the souls of 2 abandoned houses they transformed to their art. The city of Detroit left 15,000 vacant buildings standing. They bulldozed Tyree and Karen's houses.
6 years of my life, I thought they came over and in 30 minutes they took that away.
That's what they did in the communist country where I grew up. They bulldozed art that wasn't approved by the state. They just brought in the bulldozer. The city of Detroit gave Tyree and Karen a littering fine and forced them to remove the shoes from the street. I used to be one of Tyree and Karen's neighbors. I lived next to the house where Charles Lindbergh was born. It's all gone now, kidnapped like Lindbergh's baby. I wonder what happened to the Eastern European immigrants who came to the Promised Land to work in Detroit's factories. Many can still be found in Hamtramck, a Polish community in the heart of Detroit, working at Kowalski's.
There's a city called Hamtramck that really is dynamic. The people there have put it on the map. There's pierogi, kiełbasa, kapusta, and a lot of other food you won't be used to.
There is only one way to subdue your nightmares. Face them. If there is a hell for vegetarians, Kowalski's is the place. The workers of hell are all Eastern European and happy to be here.
I work about 20 years here, this place, and I like this job.
You know sausages inside out.
I'm working for this company since 1964. I'm very happy, to help my children be somebody.
There may be jobs left making sausages, but the jobs that drew workers from around the world to the car factories are scarce these days. Even Henry Ford's original car plant assembles only ghosts now. They haven't closed the Cadillac plant yet. Caddy, come home to mommy. This is where they made you a long time ago. They put their loving thoughts in your shape and they let you loose in a more optimistic America.
Born to Detroit, Michigan. Girl, I can't take you. Going to Detroit, Michigan. I got to leave you behind. On the Cadillac assembly line.
My Caddy's successors have lost their chrome, their fins, and ultimately their nerve. They look like every other shapeless vehicle at the mall. If I drove one of these new dillybubs, I'd feel like I was going shopping.
Picking that nasty cotton.
In 1932, the great muralist Diego Rivera paid homage to Henry Ford, whose assembly line invented the modern world. Even communists like Diego Rivera thought that the workers' paradise was now at hand, thanks to this capitalist miracle. Rivera's workers were clean, his bosses kind, the industrial utopia was imminent. Nothing was going to stop the march to safe labor and full employment. The only news in Detroit these days is bad news. Today, General Motors announced it was cutting 74,000 jobs, and Tyree lost his court battle with the city of Detroit. Like others with fond memories of Motor City, I too am ready to hit the road. The second farewell from Detroit, my first American home, is more sorrowful than the last. You have given me much, city of motors and neon sunsets, but have been rough on yourself. Seeing you like this broke my heart. Driving is dreaming. The industrial age, a dream. Not long ago, the machines of the future were made here, but nothing ages faster than the future. The vast Midwest that once fed the world now weeps to herself, a dream too. Migrants, salesmen, con artists, heartbroken poets, all dreaming their way west. Chicago, the city Carl Sandburg called Hog Butcher to the world, has managed to keep its vigor and its boldness. Her buildings rise arrogantly out of an age of optimism, brash early capitalism before taxes. A river of wealth flowed through her, an abundance that astonished the world. There is still a fortune to be made in the trading pits of the Chicago Board of Trade for those who are skilled at hand-to-hand combat. Yossi Morak, an Israeli immigrant, came to the U.S. in 1974 with $70 in his pocket. He drove a cab, was a porter, and went to school at night. This morning, before I had my coffee, he made $500,000. He trades exclusively for himself for 6 months a year and sales for the next 6. In just 2 days, Yossi trades over $100 billion, more than the gross national product of Romania.
I'm so good, sometimes it's amazing. But it didn't come to me the easy way, you know.
You think because you're an Israeli, you have a better understanding of capitalism?
No, I have a better understanding of hard work and taking risk. When you are surrounded by tanks in the Golan Heights and there's no way out, you come to this market and it looks very easy.
And I would say safely that in 1 week here I go through $1 million. But I still drive 20 minutes to a dry cleaners that does a shirt for 79 cents instead of $1.29. Because then it's real money, right?
It looks like a religious revival meeting, everybody shouting and throwing their hands into the air. So if it's a meeting, what are they worshiping here?
They're worshiping, I think, their ego first, money second.
I try to imagine something tangible being traded in these commodity pits. All I can see are the vast fields of wheat that end up between McDonald's buns and the immense of cattle that lay down their lives for Big Mac.
This is the only early McDonald's restaurant that's been preserved exactly as it opened April 15th, 1955. And these days, the students that come through Hamburger University over at our McDonald's campus nearby come over to get a little feeling for the culture. And it's really a cultural experience. It's a chance to see and touch and feel what McDonald's was like at the beginning. Now, we've got for you an official McDonald's crew hat here, just as was worn in the 50s. And we'll make you an honorary crew person.
I can look just like him. He's tall. A hamburger-deficient diet during my childhood in Transylvania must have stunted my growth. 85 billion burgers sold divided in 50 million Americans equals 340 burgers per American. That works out to 4 extra inches per American over your average Romanian.
We used to talk about hamburgers in terms of if we stacked them all up, that it would be a stack that would reach the moon and back 16 times. But I think we've gone quite a way beyond that, and so we haven't related it to any more of the planets lately.
Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, must have gotten to heaven on a ladder of billions of burgers. He speaks to us from beyond the grave.
Transfer your fears into faith, and you will inherit the freedom of the future. And if you believe in it, and you believe in it hard, it's impossible to fail.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for yet waking us up on this morning. Lord, there's so much that we just can't tell it all, but the devil tries to come in like a flood, but we know that you will raise up a standard against him. Amen. Let's give God a praise. Hallelujah.
The Spirit resides equally in roller skates and burgers. This congregation of gospel worshippers on wheels may not even need a ladder of burgers to make it to heaven.
We're trying to show Christians that there's more to Christianity than just the four walls of the church.
Christians need a vent also, and rather than a vent, why not vent and worship and roller skating? I guess they call us holy rollers.
His goodness and how it set me free. Joy starts to overflowing. Oh, how it's been so good to me.
The conviction grows in me that Americans, no matter what they do, are animated by hope, not by reason, that a profound, intuitive, even mystical faith underlies all our acts. I wonder if faith has been killed by conformity in Glencoe, a ritzy suburb of Chicago where urban dwellers voluntarily exiled themselves. Themis Klotz of Glencoe has buried a car in her front yard and called it art. I asked her the name of her work.
Oh, it's the monument to humanity that nobody's going to be left to build after George Bush has his limited, protracted, winnable nuclear war with 20 million Americans' acceptable loss.
Mrs. Artwork clashes with community standards and those anointed to uphold them. Peter Cummins, who is young enough to be Themis' son, is Glencoe's city manager.
When you talk to her, you'll find that she's very much supportive of efforts to stop nuclear waste, nuclear war, other concerns. Why then does she create such a hazard and a problem for her own neighbors?
There's nothing dangerous here, despite allegations to the
Well, we heard it scares the children.
Scares them. Look at what they watch on television. This scares them? Come on.
We actually permit artwork in the front yard, sculptures that have an animal or person-like similarity.
This is going to be a mutant dolphin. The car won't be seen when I finish shoveling this pile of sand over there. And then the dolphin shape will be perhaps more evident.
What was the Supreme Court talked about? I'll know pornography when I see it, junk when I see it. I know garbage when I see it. And so it's existed for 11 years because it takes a lot to go after someone like this.
Themis was telling me all about the artistic significance of the piece, and a little earlier on you said that there is a fine difference there between art and trash.
Well, I would agree. I don't...
You said that?
Is there a fine difference between art and trash? A fine line? Yes, I think there is.
Well, I find most people use terms like trash and rubbish and garbage indiscriminately. You know, I have not trespassed on nuclear silos in North Dakota. I haven't poured blood, hammered on missiles. I haven't done those things. I'm just going to do it right here.
How are you not contributing to the problem with this demonstration on this property, this junk?
Property? Hey,
This is your property.
You know, to you it's property. To me, it's home. Okay? And that distinction with you constantly, because you seem to have a wheeler-dealer mentality that I don't share. You always talk deal.
Well, let's resolve this to our to somebody's mutual satisfaction. But it's not.
An artist does not allow the integrity of the piece to be vandalized.
A few days later, a Cook County jury ruled in favor of garbage and forced Themis to bring her lawn in line with standard suburban aesthetics. The argument between Klotz and Glencoe may be what drove the settlers west, in search of enough room to rant and rave in peace, to make art or garbage.
Bought you a brand new Cadillac, 1968. Now you're coming around with that high-class job. Don't want to let nobody ride. Rock scholar.
Here is life on the open range, the grit and sweaty glamour of American myth and legend. Cattle may no longer wander a boundless prairie, but the cow is still worshipped at the National Western Stock Show in Denver.
to exhibit here, but we'll have visitors.
Gene Weiss from Manning, Iowa is improving the gene pool of our hamburger source by creating prize-winning cows in his genetics lab. He sells $200,000 worth of bull semen a year.
This bull, 0237, was the result of artificial insemination. We probably do a better job of selecting in the cattle business than we do in the human race because we're so very, very careful. So we can manage that in the livestock business, but I'm not sure we want to do that too much in the human race.
So you believe in love, but it doesn't work the same way with cows.
I do believe in love, and it doesn't necessarily work that way with cows.
What happens if a bull is attracted to a certain cow? Do you keep him apart?
He's a good bull. Look at him chew that cud. Wonderful headed bull. Isn't that an attractive head for a bull? If you would know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
I'm going to start the class with the most powerful heifer in the class, and she just got
These babes are superb packages of genetically engineered meat.
I like her link. I like the way she strides out. She's got a lot of flexibility to her frame, and I think that'll make her durable, a real good female.
These are our new models. We're displaying the 1992 best Hereford female. What makes for fashion? Quality, balance, symmetry, beauty, neckline, beauty of head, refinement, and yet quality throughout. And so femininity in livestock is you can see it, you can observe it, and it's there.
Well, I've never been to a Miss America because this is the closest I've come.
Well, you're seeing it at its best maybe right now. The judge was going to, he sorted these cattle all day, he's made his choices for his division champions, and he's the one that's going to determine which, in his opinion, is the ideal female for the Hereford breed.
Gene's cows swept the contest, and all their beauty and femininity is going to increase their McDonald'ability as they stream into your mouths, meat eaters of America. Winning the West for cows was a bloody affair. Before they gunned their cars in this direction, white men shot their way west. In Romania, guns were strictly forbidden. I can't believe that I can just walk into a store and buy a gun. I asked what is recommended for self-defense.
That sound right there, if they've ever heard it, they know what that sound is. The size of that muzzle. If you're standing in a doorway with that pointing at it at the intruder, he walks through the door, that thing looks like it's a cannon.
The kid in me is fascinated, but the grown-up is outraged. Romanticized, glamorous, and profitable guns don't produce painless TV death. They kill real people. But call it rational boy fascination or the immature nostalgia for either of Westerns. I find myself enthralled with these shiny toys of death.
It will fire and repeat.
In America, even guns painted on billboards come to life for you. I'm getting to live my fantasies. Bo is my shooting instructor. Sex and violence, the driving forces of advertising, are here in the raw.
Well, I've been in Penthouse and Playboy. When I was little, not only did my dad get me into weapons, but my mom always had a photographer take pictures of me every year. To be American in America, owning machine guns is the best thing in the world.
Tell me what it feels like to shoot a gun.
Exhilarating, especially a machine gun. I mean, it's something that nobody does, that people think is taboo. So you're out there doing something, that nobody else is doing, and you just feel exhilarated.
Okay.
Now let me see your position.
All right.
Just put it against your shoulder. Keep your finger off the trigger till we're ready to fire the weapon. Now, lean forward with the top
Bo
of your
teaches
body,
Japanese
like
tourists
you're
and
leaning
deprived
into the
immigrants like myself to unload big guns into the Western mountains.
Now you want to hold it on this shoulder right there. And kind of lean forward at the top of your body. That's good. All right, now rock and roll. Pull the trigger all the way back and let it go.
So, Bo, how'd you get into this?
My dad gave me a handgun when I was 5 years old.
So what'd you gun when you were 5?
Why'd he give it to me? Well, he wanted me to know about handguns, and he wanted me to become strong.
That's it. All I needed was a bigger gun and bigger target.
You feel the power surge. It's almost mystical.
Westerners take their guns seriously, so do Native Americans. Their history is one of genocide on an unimaginable scale. The earth is an Indian thing. It was, and it still is. The farther west I travel, the stronger the spirits of place. Those who let their minds be shaped by the land must fight those for whom the land is only to be used, exploited, and abandoned. Robert Mirabel is building a house in the middle of the Taos Pueblo, the oldest permanently inhabited village in North America. Here, like elsewhere on Turtle Island, as Indians call them, blows the desolate wind of loss, alienation, sorrow, and regret for an order that is forever gone.
This is Taos Pueblo. We're called the Red Willow people. This is definitely not America. I don't consider it America.
How does this community survive within this larger and different world?
Well, money runs everything. That's what America wants. You can't go out and wear skins and go out and hunt with bow and arrows, elk or deer. That life is gone. We always in America, they say, wow, how far can I get? How far can I succeed? Who do I have to punch down? Who do I have to step on to get to where I want? Right here, it's not that. It's a unity. The community helps the earth.
Robert's friend, Benito Concha, works hard to keep alive the Pueblo traditions.
He's always lived inside the Pueblo all her life. Doesn't know a house or a home anywhere else but inside this Pueblo.
Benito's grandmother keeps watch over 3 generations. Benito's father and grandfather were tribal governors. Outside the Pueblo, Benito plays in a rock band. Inside the Pueblo, his music and dance pay homage to his forefathers.
When we dance with the earth. The red willow hoop is fragile once it has been brought into a circle. Eventually, if you just mess around with nature, the hoop will be broken. And that's what this dance represents.
We don't do these dances like for any sort of Mickey Mouse Club type of thing. Each song and dance is a prayer to show the people out here that we're still struggling to keep our ways, and it's hard to live in 2 worlds.
The old ways of the Pueblo in speed-driven America are not the only worlds here. The Spanish conquistadores taking the land in the name of the Holy Faith, Santa Fe, have also been here and put their iron stamp on everything. But in the end, the Indian earth has infused the Catholic faith with its magic. Indian and Spanish gods still mingle here explosively. In 1813, Don Bernardo Abeyta, a self-flagellating penitent, found the crucifix buried here. He removed it 3 times, but each time it returned miraculously to the ground where the sanctuary now stands. Ever since this miracle occurred, a long procession of the sick, the weary, the afflicted, and the crippled have made their way to the Santuario de Chimayo to rub the holy dirt on their wounded flesh.
This is the holy dirt.
But did you come to the Santuario de Chimayo for yourself?
Maybe we'll have to walk.
He broke his hip, so we brought him down, and hope he heals fast. We have faith in it. Like all my uncles and aunts, that have passed away, they believed in it.
I'm ready to leave my hidden ailments behind, my regrets, tics, and anxieties, rub some holy dirt on the adult self. This corner of New Mexico is infused with the religious mystery and magic of the Indian earth. What is it about the composition of this soil that makes it so hospitable to religious mystery? Even the Sikh religion has found a home here. The Khalsa family, Dharm Singh, Guru Kirn, their daughter, Hari Rai, and baby Siri Sahib are your average, run-of-the-mill American Sikh family.
Guru, Guru,
Guru Ram Das Guru, Guru Guru Wahe Guru, Guru Ram Das Guru.
Letters? I thought you didn't want to watch the letters.
I did.
You want to get them back?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll press the 2.
Sometimes it's easier just to sit back, turn on the TV, tune out, drink a beer. But we don't do that. Let's get in an argument, believe it or not. Married couple. You get in an argument. And what do you do with that energy? If you can remember, honey, let's not argue. We do love each other. Let's sit down, breathe together, think about God together, do a mantra, whatever it is that time.
To clear the space.
To clear the space, clear our heads.
And we also try to do the same with Harira. If she starts getting one of these temper tantrums, they're so famous. We have a timeout. She goes into her room. She knows how to center herself.
What we have is a meditation, a spiritual practice. That's the meaning of sadhana. Hey, quiet. Which we do every day, without fail. And there's a real power in that. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes you just practically sleep through it. Other times it's an incredible spiritual moving connection with God, the whole thing.
There is no Bruderhof-like poverty here, no TV-less atoning for the sins of capitalism, no pacifism. Au contraire, the Sikhs celebrate wealth and might. They sell America the oats for her granola and operate one of the largest security companies in the state.
We may look different and we may practice different, but what we practice is one of the last major religions that was ever formed on this planet. So it's very mainstream.
We have a warrior tradition that we defend righteousness, so people don't even come close because they know we will protect what we have. And we're ready to protect what we have.
The Sikhs are so reputed for their fierceness that they have been hired by the government to guard military installations. This is the private bodyguard of the religious leader of the Sikhs of the Western Hemisphere, Siri Singh Sahib Bhai Sahib Harbhajan Singh Khalsa Yogi Ji, also known as Yogi Bhajan. I asked Yogi Ji if his community was a cult.
Cult? What is it?
We don't even know what a cult is. Nobody knows in our community what a cult is.
A cult is a group that follows a charismatic leader.
Oh, forget that part. I don't follow anybody. Religiously, to survive, we have to have a hierarchy. And that way, I'm Siri Singh Sahib. It means I'm almost a pope. That's why I met a pope like a pope.
Where and when did you become enlightened?
I never use those high-frequency words. I feel God made every human by his own choice, and everybody is as enlightened as you can be. And holy, I say, you have 9 holes. If you take care of them, what comes in and get out, you are holy.
This is a very successful and wealthy community, and
poverty is a curse.
It has. Yeah, tell me about it.
We don't believe that. You can't be poor. If you're poor, you are stupid. I don't believe anybody should be poor. I don't believe anybody should be unhappy. Because we are made in the perfect image of God. Isn't that you believe it? So how can a perfect make imperfect people?
Yogi Ji's flock of white capitalist birds started out as hippies at the end of the 60s.
This is the dawn of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, Aquarius.
The 60s never died here in Santa Fe. If this original hog farm commune bus could tell stories, it would speak of Woodstock, Monterey, Guatemala, and other epic trails of that time.
Crystal revelation. relations and the mind's true liberation. Aquarius, Aquarius.
I want the 60s back.
I think the 60s was a time when everybody really opened up, everybody reached out, they expressed themselves, but there was a lot of drugs and there was a lot of other things kind of maybe clouding it over. And I think the 90s is a time when we got to get that same feeling, but it's going to be with total awareness and be without the drugs.
Lisa Law, Santa Fe's original hippie, drove this bus through every major intersection of the nomad roots of the 60s. Now she helps drive from the hippie age into the new age.
Why are the hippies into the New Age stuff? Well, you know, we're getting the message directly now from up above. There's no gurus anymore. We're out of the Piscean age into the age of Aquarius, and it's funneling down right into the top of our heads, right into our pituitary glands, and it's coming out our heart, and we're going to love everybody.
Dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius.
The new age, conservative child of the hippie 60s, is commercially savvy. In Santa Fe, the new age gets marketed at a bookstore run by Jamil Kilbride.
A little celestial harmonics on the way in. We're heading into the room that contains the shamanism, Native American, astrology, that side of the family. What sparks me in my work here is that we can provide for people a spiritual supermarket.
Hi.
Hi.
Is there something you're looking for?
Oh, I'm just looking at jewelry. I was looking for spacecraft earrings. I've had contact with some of the beings that are visiting the planet, which is a lot of people are having that experience now. And I know it sounds very science fiction, but it's a very common kind of experience that people have.
Tell me, what kind of being?
Some of these particular beings were extremely tall. Some of them I now realize are a very common variety of the short gray guys with the big...
What are they looking for over here?
Their race is genetically in trouble, and there's a lot of evidence, I mean, there's really no question about it, that they are doing hybrid experiments between the Earth humans and their own race, trying to improve their line.
You don't seem particularly distressed by what some would construe as an alien invasion. I mean, shouldn't we call the Pentagon?
It can be, obviously, a very frightening experience. I mean, you've got these people showing up in your bedroom in the middle of the night, and they're taking you out of your bed into this strange place and doing these weird medical things to you. Yeah, it can be very frightening. I trust them for some reason.
Beth Pearson is surrounded by aliens. I am one. A Transylvanian Jew from New Orleans in a New Mexican spiritual supermarket. A kid in the multicultural candy shop. What should I buy? Perhaps Foster Perry can help me. Perry is an all-around psychic, spiritual healer, and rebirther. He is trying to cure me from the trauma of driving my father's car into a wall when I was a child.
You replay the past incident of your father in the car and change the ending. We have to ride the car together, my father and I, but this time I'm driving.
Should I leave the car here, then?
It tells you, now ride the car. I'm learning to drive the car now. I had to learn to do that. I'm doing it for my sons, even though they want to go over the edge, too. And here I will learn how to drive in America. My soul, my inner life, and my dreams. Ho. This is a big deal.
I'm hopeless. The only way I can be healed is to be born again.
In, out. A new kind of tantra. In, out. In, out. All this stuff back in Romania. In, help me. In, help me somebody. In, out. In, oh, in, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Now open your legs. In, in,
I'm a baby, all right, though for reasons of dignity I'm keeping my mustache. I want to grow up quick so I can get in my caddy and split this unsteady rocking intrauterine popcorn joint. My caddy has gone new age on me. I wanted to stop at church, but it wouldn't let me. I seem to have undertaken the complete psychic healing program, so I might as well savor all its varieties.
Just relax. These crystals have been doing this job for a long time now. They really do know what they're doing.
Cherokee is a crystal healer. She calls her crystals her babies.
I merely follow orders, place the stones, and get out of the way and let the energy move. This is going to go right here. No, just put your legs down. Now, is the energy coming in? Can you feel it yet?
I can feel something going on.
Okay. Now, what do you want to use on his throat? Do you want to use that? No, I don't think so. Okay,
What are you talking to, Cherokee?
Archangel Ariel. I've worked with her since about 1975.
Does she have a body like ours?
Yeah, she has long blonde hair. She's a very large being, probably 8 to 10 feet tall. I'm gonna go ahead and start this now. Whew. Wow, okay. I don't know whether you'll experience any pain anywhere in the body if you do breathe green into it, and it usually won't last over 3 or 4 seconds. Elohim Adonai Yahshua Yod Hey Yahweh Hini Matov Hini Matov Hallelujah Hallelujah.
This doesn't seem to work for me. Crystals must be to the New Age what velvet painting is to art. The sublime and the ridiculous coexist around Santa Fe. Its New Age inhabitants call this land a spiritual vortex. It is. The cosmic, transcendental aspirations I witnessed in Santa Fe are not diminished as I travel further west into the desert of Arizona. A remarkable quest for an ecological utopia is in full bloom here in Oracle, Arizona, the home of Biosphere 2. Convinced that life on Earth, Biosphere 1, was doomed, 8 voluntary hostages have sealed themselves inside this $150 million futuristic bubble for 2 years.
This is the human habitat. This is where the Biospherians call home for the next 2 years. Working in the wilderness, of course, but there are 10 apartments located in the human habitat.
Trapped inside the more or less eco-perfect bubble, the Biospherians present themselves as pioneers of future life in space. Though for the moment, they are still on Earth and fast on their way to becoming Arizona's second largest tourist attraction after the Grand Canyon, a Disneyland for the millennially distressed. Mark Nelson, one of 8 Biospherians, was also one of the original members of a psychodrama commune whose members launched this human and scientific experiment. Not yet able to beam aboard, I go for the next best thing, a walkie-talkie. Would you tell me why in the world you'd get in there and stay in there for years?
If we're really going to live in space, not just go out there with our picnic lunches to make footprints on the moon or Mars, we're going to need to take robust living systems. We're going to need to miniaturize biospheres.
What sort of utopia is this? What is the fate that it's based on?
Personally, I like the 60s. And the 60s, I think, really did make a big consciousness change around the planet. And certainly growing up in that time, I was determined that I would be, in the phrase of the time, part of the solution, not of the problem. My reading of history is that we have a limited number of scripts, and most of them have fairly sad endings. And if we're going to take our our life and our fellow species with us in space, we're going to need to take biospheres with us.
Even if everybody takes off for outer space, I'll stay here. One biosphere is enough for me. Afoot and light-hearted I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me, the long brown path before me leading wherever I choose. Strong and content, I travel the open road. Walt Whitman's song of the open road, written in 1856, says the freedom of being on the road. But American roads at the end of the millennium serve the goddess of kitsch.
If you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66.
When Americans roamed the earth, they left behind some very mysterious structures. No one knows who built them or why.
Well, howdy, friends. Welcome to Rawhide, where the West is fun. Miss me!
An ancient village was unearthed at Rawhide outside of modern-day Phoenix. The natives here used to reenact cartoon versions of their own history for a little-studied but rapidly multiplying tribe called tourists. It is known for certain that real Native Americans inhabited places that were later covered by a layer of fake Indian artifacts. Acres of these imitations came to be known as Indian Schlacaterias.
Hi, welcome to Casa Bonita.
One of the largest finds of its kind is Casa Bonita, an 1,100-seat dining amphitheater where large people sat before steaming dishes while warriors battled and maidens slept into watery grottos.
When you make the California trip, get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks, 66.
What is this? Easy Riders? Hell's Angels? The Dean Brando gang? The Wehrmacht? No, the riders look clean. The bikes are Japanese. They have their helmets on. They are the Power Riders, and they are taking me to Sun City, a paradise for 70,000 people over 55. What makes it paradise is precisely the absence of unsettling young people whose arrogantly taut flesh reminds everyone of mortality. Nobody in America wants to die anymore. Sun City, where everyone's mother lives, is yet another heavenly Jerusalem, promising that wrinkles will be ironed out, warts exiled, ailments banished, and complaints cauterized by the magic of sun and enforced leisure. The angel of American death limps outside the gates of Sun City, too weak to knock, and even if it did, it wouldn't be heard anyway. 1 foot in the grave, Sun City's punk rock band, Lex Mortician, is jamming. So, what's it like living here with all these old people? You seem to have so much more energy than anybody I've ever seen.
We are the youngsters. You guys are the youngsters of Sun City, right?
To get into Sun City, you have to be 55.
But isn't age, all in the mind?
Age means a lot. Lumbago, heart attacks, no lungs, and cataracts.
Is this the American dream incarnate? Are you living it?
I guess that is America. You can do anything you want to do at any age. And I'm not even a singer, and I'm the lead
vocalist.
They don't let me say I sing.
Running hot, running cold. I'm sick and tired of growing.
Sex with my husband is becoming rare.
I never give him his sexual share. Say hello to life's frustration. Say goodbye to my menstruation. I never asked for an education like menopause. Help me!
I couldn't live in an age ghetto like Sun City. Still, here are long-suffering Americans who have found, a little late, the root of all evil, boring work. But they could have thought of it sooner. Well, some people have thought of not doing any work at all, and are dreaming that the goddess of luck is smiling kindly on them, her smile of neon and glitz. Las Vegas writes on the sky with neon, and she says, "Come here, ye wretched of 9-to-5 jobs, and see if you weren't intended better. Come forth, all ye schmozen suckers, to the neon shores of the true American dream. This is where you can get your reward right away in this life without waiting for the next." I took my mother here once. She put all the childish faith of her unhappy life into gambling, as if 2 or 3 strokes of luck might undo decades of bad breaks. She lost all her money, and so did I, but we gained each other's company for 3 days. It was worth it.
We're gonna have $1 ante, gentlemen?
I'm a compulsive loser, so I decided to take on these professional poker sharks at a high-stakes table. Tank Top Tony has tried drugs, alcohol, religion, meditation, and crime before settling on gambling. Jay was an anthropology professor who got bored teaching students about human behavior and decided to make a career out of manipulating it at the poker table. David has never done anything but gamble and is doing time at the tables until he earns enough to find peace.
We have queens and tens, 2 pairs.
Queens and tens, kings and fours.
You know you can't beat an all-in player.
Clearly, there's a difference between a schmo like me and a professional player, even if I get lucky once or twice.
I think you're doing real well. I wouldn't mind winning a few pots myself today.
Yeah, why did I win?
Tourists win because they're lucky. Professionals win because they're good.
Is this a dream come true for you to live this life?
I think if I had to have a job doing the same thing day in and day out, it would have destroyed me personally.
I've heard professional players and others talking about how they've played for a lifetime, never had a real job. But they're dreaming. They'll come in and they'll put in 180 hours a week playing poker, and they'll say, "I never had a job." That sounds to me like a job.
My attack is more of a mercenary, whereas I think Tony's still at the stage of some kind of enjoyment. You can tell he even smiles when he wins. I mean, the man is aglow, whereas the glow is gone in me. I'm just a hard-nosed professional.
I think most of my knowledge that I obtained throughout life came from playing poker. You know, because I don't do a whole lot of reading.
4s, you are high. He's got a diamond flush. Ace high.
I'm still running to it. Andre, have you ever thought about doing this professionally?
I didn't even know I had a winning diamond flush. Maybe I finally found my calling. Getting to the top in poker is just like getting to the top in business. You work hard, set yourself against the odds, and don't give a sucker an even break.
20.
These guys never see daylight and try to be as tough as the night can make you. But a few doors away, people made by daytime TV are marrying each other. Here is the assembly line of sentiment, Vegas style, where 50 couples a day are married in a single chapel.
This is the moment I've waited for. I can hear my heart singing. Bells soon will be ringing. This is the moment of sweet aloha. I will love you longer than forever. Promise me that you will leave me never. Now that we are one, clouds can't hide the sun. Blue skies over Nevada's mud on this our wedding day.
I do get choked up. Sometimes I sit here and bawl right along with the people. And it's very touching because most of the couples are so in love. And it's really neat to see them.
The total is $70.40.
How long does it take you to get married there?
5-6 minutes. Yeah, about 5 or 6 minutes.
How's that different than McDonald's?
Well, my dear, it's different from McDonald's because we serve hearts full of love. We don't serve hamburgers and French fries.
Less fat.
More hugs, more love.
Charlotte, the Henry Ford of the heart, is the owner and claims she's the minister too. Both of her get little white envelopes stuffed with the donations that the shy lovers fish out of their threadbare pockets.
Did you have an envelope for the minister's donation?
We haven't done that yet.
Could you care to give her one?
Yeah, what else?
We call this regular packages for 189, deluxe 89, and also Michael Jordan special for 389, and the best one, John Collins special for 199, which includes totally everything. You can't have more.
The ultimate in expedient amour is the drive-by wedding, $25 a pop. Non-drivers can never experience the quickie bliss of the Vegas-style American wedding. My driver's license gives me undreamt of bonuses.
Welcome to the Little Whitechapel Drive-Up Wedding Window. We are gathered here tonight to join you together in marriage. Herb, will you take Linda to be your wedded wife?
Yes, I do.
And Linda, will you take Herb for your husband?
Yes, I will.
Well, Herb and Linda, what God has joined together, let no one take apart. And by the power invested in me by the state of Nevada, you are legally married, husband and wife. Now kiss your beautiful bride. Let her come up for air. Bye now, stay happy and love each other forever. Bye-bye.
I'm getting out of this soap opera where they've banished daylight. I'm heading back into my past to San Francisco, the golden city of my youth, the westernmost point of my generational migration. From here on out, there's nothing but the ocean. You must turn around to face yourself. Some people could not take what they saw. They jumped into the ocean or ran back to the landlocked certainties of the Midwest. Nice of San Francisco to have a street that's a metaphor for a poet's life. North Beach, like the Lower East Side of New York and the left bank of Paris, is one of the capitals of Bohemia, the mecca for literal and metaphorical exiles from the status quos of society. City Lights is the poetic heart of North Beach. I wonder where the Codrescu section is. All they have is an old book of mine which has been out of print for 15 years. I bought all the remaining copies. Café Trieste is the hangout where my beat poet predecessors also used to go a generation before. I spent many summers here dreaming of poetry and girls. Duc Nguyen comes from Bohemian Café Society too, Vietnam. He's an American radio commentator like myself. Duc honored me by inviting me home to meet his father, a poet and former South Vietnamese government official. I asked Mr. Nguyen to read one of the poems he wrote during the 12 years he spent in a North Vietnamese prison.
Chim lạc đàn, hoàng hôn chịu nặng bóng thời gian.
Dust falls, laden with the passing time, and drifting clouds beyond the prison window grieve over a betrayed goal. Waking up in the morning, I feel disconsolate about my homeland's misfortune.
Would you ever consider going back to live in Vietnam?
I don't like to be back now. So I enjoyed freedom, the freedom I was looking for a long time.
How about you, Duke?
I think I'm ready to go back tomorrow. I mean, I feel very comfortable there. And I want to go back to Vietnam to be with friends, to be able to tell them about my fears, my joys, whatever. And that kind of things only happen in Vietnam for me. But I know I can't walk down the street and say, let's change the government now and, move to a multi-party system. I'd be put in prison within 10 seconds.
Well, that seems to me like a great price to pay for just being able to hang with your friends in a cafe.
I've never seen this as a new home. To me, the word home means only one thing, and that means Vietnam.
I have suffered so many years under the dictatorial regime, so I highly prize the value of freedom.
I could never live in Romania again. I know I'm a full-fledged American because I've been asked to help officiate at the swearing-in ceremony for new immigrants.
I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, so help me God.
I never thought, in my wildest dreams, that I would one day share a podium with officials of the Immigration and Naturalization served me so much grief. Only in America could they be so casual about the past. Didn't anybody check my file?
Almost 10 years ago, I sat where you sit now and listened to a judge welcome me to America. You are now Americans, the judge said. You can keep your native customs, you can keep your wonderful cooking and your churches, but you are not Chinese, Haitians, Russians, or Romanians any longer. I would modify what the judge said to me 10 years ago in this way. We are still Chinese, Haitians, Russians, and Romanians, but we are also American, which means that we don't have to whisper anymore for fear of the police. America in 1991 is not the America I came to in 1966. Today, Spanish is spoken almost as much as English, and millions of people from Asia, the Caribbean, the Pacific, and elsewhere have come since then, changing the flavor and look of the place, making America more colorful, spicier, more stretching and coloring its fabric. Every generation of new immigrants remakes America in the shape of what they imagine it to be. It's your turn.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight?
I came from Poland, and I'm very happy to be here in this country.
It took me a long time, but I'm very happy to be one of them.
It's just great. You grab that piece of security and you put it in your pocket and say, I belong somewhere.
Hugely incompatible ingredients were thrown into the boiling cauldron of this continent, and very little, thank God, has actually melted in this vast melting pot. What keeps us together is precisely the odd awareness of our differences. And there is something else that belongs to the land itself, a Native American force that binds us together and bids us to pursue the illusory light of the spirit. Paradoxically, the most materialistic country in the world is also the most spiritual. I, for one, new American and even newer driver, am grateful to that native force. The earth is an Indian thing. I believe that, but it's also a Romanian thing.
Hey, Rose. Think you better slow your old Cadillac down. Well, Rhodes Scholar
put your flat